around. If we all could talk about those times, maybe we could get along just fine. It's not like what we have isn't worthwhile. I just haven't seen you for a while. Oh, the guilt is amazing when you talk to your real friends. Oh, I'm always worried that I'm not a good friend at all. If we all could talk about those times, maybe we could get along just fine. And every time, know that I'm feeling good, and I'll ask you how you're doing like a good friend should. 'Cause I love all of you, and you, and you, and you, everybody out there. This next song is called Postmodernism. 1, 2, 3, 4! You know it's easy, you know it's simple. No explanations, only lies. You just do what your body tells you. Nothing is true, everything is right. Nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. There's nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. You know it's easy, you know it's simple. No explanations, only lies. You just do what your body tells you. Nothing is true, so you build your own lie. Nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. Oh! There's nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. Here we go! And it's easy, it's very simple. No reason, no logic, and it's nothing but a big lie. There's no reason, only rhymes. Nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. There's nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. Yeah, 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 yeah. Nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do but what you want to. Yeah, there's nothing you gotta say, nothing you gotta do what you want to. What do you wanna do? Don't wanna do it, baby! Here we go! Thank you. This next song is called I See in Me. I'm going to bring things down just a little bit. I wanna dance. I don't wanna be called handsome in a trance. life just wasn't made for me. I guess this life just wasn't made for me. 'Cause everything's so different from the beauty I see. See in me. I see in me. Oh. I wanna talk, hear a voice that I like. I wanna walk, swing my hips to the side. But these walls of skin and bone can't find me. They stand tall, as tall as I'll ever be. I guess this life just wasn't made for me. I guess this life just wasn't made for me. 'Cause everything's so different from the beauty I see. I see in me. I see in me. Oh. Guess this life just wasn't made for me. I guess this life just wasn't made for me. 'Cause everything's so different from the beauty I see. I see in me. I see in me. I see in me. I see in me.
Ooh, way to get everyone's blood pumping. Welcome back to the KPCU studio.
I'm happy to be back.
Although your original time here was with Hannah Demo Band,
Indeed it was. Indeed it was.
and now you're here as SHAYLEE. So let's, for those who maybe have missed that, introduce yourselves and what you're playing.
So I am the leader of SHAYLEE. My name is Elle Archer, and I play the girl tar, and I write song. That's what I do.
I am not the later, the later version of the leader of SHAYLEE. My name is Nicholas Lambert, and I'm grateful to play with Elle Archer and SHAYLEE, and it's been awesome.
But you play drums, right?
I do, yeah.
Cool. I was just wondering.
I try. I really do.
How did this band come about?
Well, I was releasing music under a name I didn't like, and decided that I wanted to release music under a name I did like. So I just started this. It actually was named after a song, weirdly enough. The band was named after a song. And yeah, it just went from there. I started putting a band together, and those original members have kind of folded away, and now we're kind of starting a new lineup with Nick on drums, as well as Marvin on bass. That he was out of town today, so we're doing the two-piece setup today. But yeah, it's been a band since about December. Yeah.
That's actually a fairly short period of time to be playing this tight together. I'm assuming you've played together before December in other iterations, maybe? No?
We just met recently.
2 months ago or so?
2 months ago, I think.
Yeah.
Like as human beings, just yeah.
When I record all the music, I play all the instruments myself, so the songs come canned. Like the arrangements are already there,
It's just a matter of giving the musicians the recordings and having them learn it. But then there's like little instances where they put their own spin on it, and sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, I like that idea," and I'll be like, "Let's keep that." But yeah, we have a pretty strict rehearsal schedule. We rehearsed twice this past week.
Yeah.
Even when I was like deathly ill,
Yeah.
I was running a fever, and I was like sitting down, and I'm like, okay,
She was on a stretcher.
let's just move on to the next song. I was like out of it, but like I don't know. We got our first show as a 3-piece this weekend. Tomorrow actually at Quarter World. It's our
Now,
first.
where is Quarter World?
It's on Southeast Hawthorne. It's actually an arcade. So if you want to go to an arcade where there's like music and beer, and it's like a pride event. So if you're like gay like me, it's a very fun time. So we're gonna be there tomorrow night, and because it was like our first time like as a 3-piece playing, I wanted to make sure we were nice and tight. So, I mean, I always want to make sure we're nice and tight. So I like the band leader thing, but sometimes I could be a little Stalin-esque. I feel like a little authoritarian here and there, but it's good.
I'm wearing some stripes, but you can't see them because my shirt's on.
Oh my God.
I'm just joking.
Let me stand on the record and say that I do not torture my bandmates physically.
Not
Well,
physically.
physically, yeah, but this is an emotional and mental game.
I think that could be a blanket statement for music in general.
Right, totally.
Mm.
I'm not pulling a Captain Beefheart and like going losing my mind and like keeping him from eating or anything like that yet. I'm kidding.
Yet. Well, yeah, what is this?
Okay. How would you describe band practices?
Oh, well, so practice to me is different than rehearsing, and I think it's important to put in your practice time and focus on your facility. And for me, it can be musical, but most of the time it's not. It's just I'm running through, exercises and things like that. So, but when it comes to rehearsing, I try to be as is this thing on? Lee,
Yeah.
how you doing?
We're just trying to get your
Okay.
voice a little closer.
I see. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little soft-spoken sometimes, but and so rehearsal is a different kind of approach. It's to practice playing music with people is different than to practice by yourself in a room, which I think it's really good to practice to records, and things. Maybe I'll do that while I'm warming up and then go through some, exercises. But then when I get with, say, L or the Hannah Demo Band or Crow Daddy, which is another band that I play for, I practice playing with people, and it's just a different thing. So those are.
When you're practicing with records, do you have any go-to records you warm up with?
I was recently warming up to "Drunk" by Thundercat, which is a great record. Lee, he's you feeling great?
You got the horns of approval?
Yes, that's a good sign. And then what else?
I prefer
Boys to Men. I was
Boyz II
just
Men.
listening to their first record, and it was like,
very
but
classic.
just warm up.
Very classic. I had a bad joke, and it's now
Oh, okay.
like kind of past.
Is
When
it past? Okay.
It's past. But I'll say it anyway because
Okay,
I'm
you're gonna
talking
go.
about it.
Okay,
When you
yeah.
said like, "Oh, I've been listening to Drunk by Thundercat," I was about to say, "Well, I prefer Follow Up Stoned," but that's just me. you know.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That album doesn't exist though, so it's not that funny.
Okay, gotcha. Back to you.
Thundercat who?
Oh boy. Jeez, man.
All
Wow,
right.
that's amazing.
Thundercat puts on a heck of a show.
So, Elle, when you're warming up on your own, not writing a song, just kind of warming up the instruments, if you will, is there something you're playing? Your go-to?
I mean, I just love playing guitar. I'll mess around on this thing for hours and just kind of. Sometimes I get caught in the same ruts that other guitar players do, where I'll just like fall into the same riffs sometimes and stuff. But I really liked learning. I'm trying to think of songs I liked learning when I was younger. I went through a huge Elliott Smith phase. I went through like a huge Beatles phase when I was like a teenager. I was really into like Radiohead and the Velvet Underground, and I just liked playing those songs because like the chord progressions were simple but like really, really smart.
Effective.
Yeah, effective, where they could use like cowboy chords but still like move around the fretboard in a way that was like super creative. So stuff like that is kind of the bedrock of what I do. And like I do it kind of like semi-ironically, but I also kind of have a thing for like playing country licks, like because it's like it's all about like dexterity. It's all about like keeping my fingers limber. So like really cross genre, whatever it is that makes me a better guitar player, or a better musician in general, because I also play drums and bass and keys and all that. So like whatever makes me better, that's what I'm going to be trying to play. That doesn't mean scales though. I'm not like the most like diligent and practiced musician there is. I just like doing it.
You know, with those kind of country-esque riffs you had there, are you going to pick up the banjo at any point?
I can play a little banjo. I mean, I work at a music store, so I have to sell banjos sometimes. We're like, how do you play that? The thing is, it's tuned open G, so it's kind of like you have these two right here. And you could kind of go like, if I do this. That sort of thing. That was off as hell. I could say hell right. But yeah, that was you could just do stuff like that, and like as long as you just keep the 16th notes rolling, like it's more about your right hand at that point, because you can play anything over here and just like bar chords, and then people are just like, you could play the banjo, but I can't actually play the banjo. Don't ask me to play the banjo.
All right. So, Quarter World. After that, do you have any other gigs coming up?
We are playing. Let me grab the calendar real quick. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. While you do that, I can also ask you to mention where everyone can find your music.
Oh, yeah. If you want to check out, well, another band that I play for is called Crow Daddy, and they're up on Bandcamp, and Crow Daddy Band, pretty much. Check them out. They're kind of like alt rock, a little bit. You know, sometimes it gets a little jazzy, and it's some, metric modular things a little bit. Nothing too crazy, but
I listened to
challenging.
a song that the band Crow Daddy sent me,
Oh,
and there was like some roads. It was like gently swung, vaguely psychedelic.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go.
Very relaxing
yeah.
sort of vibes.
Wow.
Kind of the antithesis of SHAYLEE
Yeah,
in a
it's
sense, where
yeah.
Very
you
chill.
come to one of our shows to dance a lot. You go to one of their shows to be like,
Yeah, you need to get really
That's the
comfortable.
down-tempo chill vibe. Got it.
Yeah, some of them,
Okay.
yeah.
So I've got our next gig is going to be on Saturday the 15th, June 15th at Slim's in St. John's. That's going to be our third show there. We play there quite a lot, actually. It's always a good time. And then on the 29th, we are going to be playing at No Fun Bar with Easy There Tiger. It's one of our favorite bands to play with. And that's about what I got so far.
For
Any-
people listening who want to find out about upcoming gigs, where's the best place for them to go?
Follow us on Instagram at SHAYLEE Band. I always keep our upcoming gigs listed there, so you can always know where we're going to be playing next. And I always post show posters on there. And whether you want to see it or not, you'll see it if you follow me. So, yeah, follow us at SHAYLEE Band. Our first record, Bring It Out of Me, is on Spotify. We're not playing anything from that record today because that record was made a long time ago, but I kind of saw it as a precursor to the record that we're going to be putting out later this year. That's where most of these songs pull from. So this is all music that you will be able to hear in the future, or right now if you're listening.
An exclusive. What is the next song?
What is?
Right, what are you going to be playing next?
Next, we're playing a song called Miss Fowley. This song sounds a lot dirtier than it actually is.
You want to tell me a little more about those lyrics?
I wrote it about one of my roommates. Just kind of, it was just kind of a, it's kind of personal actually. And I kind of like keeping the meaning of the song kind of obscured. I've already said too much.
Awkward.
I'll have to murder all of you once I'm done with this interview. No, I'm kidding.
Premeditated.
But yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna leave it at that. This one is the one that's in like mixed meter time signatures. It's mostly in 5. So the recorded version of this one, I wanted the guitars to sound as nasty as possible, so I ran them into a 4-track. I wanted it to sound like a Ween song. So take that for what you will.
All right, let's hear it.
Cool.
rain. Miss Valley, Miss Valley, Miss Valley. It's a dark road, I suppose, I suppose. Miss Valley, Miss Valley. It's a dark road, I suppose, I suppose. A Miss Valley, a Miss Valley, Miss. Come on. Thanks. All right, let me bust this out real quick. I got my set list on my phone. I got to make sure I'm staying. Okay, Black Sheep is the next one. This next song's about not fitting in, something that lots of people don't do. It's almost like the status quo isn't something worth adhering to. I'm just joking around. This one's called Black Sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't want no picture written in a book. I want the words to speak so clearly that I'm hooked. And when it ends, I lay down inside. I'll brush my teeth and turn out the light. But all those fairy tales will scare me. Nothing keeps me from the very things I want, but I could never keep. And all those tales of joy and sorrow keep me hooked until tomorrow. Living my life as the dumb black sheep. The dumb black sheep. Here we go. Don't want tobacco in my cigarette. I just want my dumb mind to be tricked. 'Cause when the paper, it burns near my lips, it almost feels like a fast approaching kiss. There's nothing in this world that feels like this. All those fairy tales will scare me. Nothing keeps me from the very things I want, but I could never keep. All those tales of joy and sorrow don't let you. That don't let you. I want no fear to live in my life. I wanna live and never think twice. But it ain't easy living in the hood where everybody's hooked on the shepherd's words. Yeah, all those fairy tales are scary. Nothing keeps me from the very things I want, but I could never keep. All those tales of joy and sorrow keep me hooked until tomorrow. Living my life as the dumb let you. The dumb let you. The dumb let you. This song's called Back to You. 1, 2, 3, 4. I am so hard to find with any peace of mind.
for a minute?
Yeah, I need it.
Okay, question that I always kind of wondered, it feels awkward to ask. How much of your performance is actually rehearsed versus how much just feels natural to be like headbanging and jumping around?
Okay, so I do have stripes, so very rehearsed. No, okay, yeah, you'll hear it from.
As far as the movements, none of that's choreographed. I just like having fun.
When you're practicing, does that happen too?
Sometimes, if I'm feeling it. Other times, no, but it just kind of depends. Generally speaking, the whole reason why I want this band to be so tight is so that we have the freedom to just have a bunch of fun with it and not have to worry about those extra details because they're already set in place. It's like being extra prepared, you know? That way, like, when I feel like the energy's rising in me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to go to the headbang moment now. I can rely on him to bring it instead of it being like, oh, he thinks the song's over. And then you have all this pent-up energy. You're just like, dang it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't rehearse any of the movements, but definitely the songs a lot, so we can move.
Yeah, gotta give them what they want.
Right.
So.
There you go. All right, going back in time now.
Okay.
First instrument that you actually picked up and learned how to play.
First instrument was like I played toy guitars all the time as a kid. There's home videos from when I was like 3 or 4, and I would like have like plastic guitars in my lap, and I'd be strumming them and like making up songs. So I was kind of born to do this. But this was my first electric guitar. Right here. This
The shiny red.
it's a Mexican Fender Stratocaster. This was my first electric guitar,
Yummy.
and I've never gotten rid of it because it's just never given me a reason to get rid of it. It's been very loyal to me through these years, and right now she's serving as a backup. But I've modded her a lot. I've kind of like got her to my specific specifications, so to speak. That was some awesome alliteration. But yeah, that was my first electric. I got her when I was 10, so had her for 13 years now. That's a long time to spend with an instrument.
Go Fender.
Go Fender. Please give me a sponsorship.
Yeah, this is sponsored by Fender, right?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
sponsored by
Thank
Fender.
you, Ryan.
So hey.
Thank you, Fender. Hi,
you.
remember
Yes.
me. Hi.
Yes, they provide the lovely monitors in front of us here.
Yes,
Wow.
very loud, very
Amazing.
efficient.
Yes, which-
Articulate, completely perfect.
One of those random things you don't always think of Fender is providing, but yes, they actually make monitors.
Do you know they
Well,
made
they
PA
started
equipment?
actually
They made PA
doing
equipment
that,
before they
yeah.
ever made guitars.
Yeah.
How about that? 1946 they
Yeah.
started
Random
out.
music history for everyone.
Yeah. Oh, Fender Academy. Thank
Good
you.
Good old Fender Academy. We both work at the local music shop. Shout out Portland Music Company. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that, but shout out Portland Music Company. Yeah, we both work there, so we had to take some Fender classes, so we all know lots about Fender.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your first instrument.
It was drums. In fact, the first thing that I ever got was a snare drum that didn't have any snare wire on it, so I didn't know. That was my first.
Otherwise
introduction
known
to
as a
that.
drum.
Yes. Yeah. So it was a drum, in fact. Yeah, I got a little kit when I was really young. And I learned a little. I didn't really learn, it was more like just expressing what I felt like I heard in music, and then later on, when I was about 10 or 11, I started messing around with this Casio keyboard, really dusty old one, and you could record yourself, and so my brother and I would record like a bass line, and then we would switch to the drums, and then I would record the drums over it, but it wasn't like you couldn't edit it, so you had to like keep just getting a better take every time it came around. So I would sit there for hours and be like, this isn't good enough, and then finally it'd be like, oh, okay, this is really cool, and so it was just a lot of fun. And then I went back to playing drums actually pretty late when I was 16, so, and then picked up guitar when I was 19. I played for a worship group, or drums. I played drums there, and then the worship leader taught me how to play guitar, so I picked up that. And then recently I've been playing some bass guitar, and it's been a lot of fun, but I'm really just terrible at those instruments, so it's more like just fun for me to get things out, and I'm like, oh, it's almost cool. So anyway, that's
Let it stand on the record that Nick needs to give himself more credit.
no. Elle, you're too kind.
Nick, you're getting golf claps.
Oh, golf clubs is nice. I'm golf clubbing myself. Hey, Mom.
Totally unrelated. I went to a driving range with my friend yesterday. First time I've held a golf club in like a decade, and I'm really sore from it, like in my wrists. So playing guitar is like slightly harder today.
Oh, wow.
Random factoid. Just thought I'd throw that in there.
Just so everyone watching you play knows that you're playing with sore wrists.
Yes, just
Yeah.
so everybody that's watching knows that I'm struggling for you.
This is for you.
I put my heart and soul into this.
What was the name of your side project again, Nick?
Crow Daddy,
Crow Daddy.
and of course Hannah Demo Band, and Pony Boy is another band that I play with and was able to record. Grateful enough to record drums on their record, and they're going to release that sometime this year, and it should be pretty cool. It's another kind of more down tempo hip hop indie oriented, more like a Bon Iver kind of stuff. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
He spends all his rock energy in this band.
Which
Well,
is
and in
amazing.
Hannah Demo too.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, in the short period that I get to play rock, I try to leave it all on the table, and just like there it is,
Yeah,
and
that's
then after I'm like satisfied.
Being in so many bands, how do you balance that with everything else in your life?
I do horribly with some bands. Yeah. I drink 2 amps a day, and those are made by Mountain Dew. Please sponsor me. No, I'm kidding. Not really.
I will give a shout out to the Live Friday sponsor, Sesame, for hooking us up with donuts.
Yeah. Sesame donuts.
Absolutely. Which I had last time, and they were amazing.
Yeah,
they
excellent
fry them in
donuts.
sesame oil, hence the name.
Oh,
Oh,
gotcha. Yeah.
I was
Wow.
wondering. I was like, "There's no sesame seeds on these."
Sesame oil makes them
Gotcha.
extra delicious.
Yeah, delicious donuts.
That's
They
amazing.
they have this new thing where they kind of like another coffee shop in town where they put the Torani flavored stuff and cream in the Red Bull with
Okay.
ice, and
Ooh.
they can blend them or just
Red Bull
over ice.
donuts, or just like red? Wait, I
No,
didn't listen
just
to what
Red
we
Bull.
said. Oh, just Red Bull.
Red Bull with flavors in it.
Wow.
I love
that is,
because
like,
I'm sorry, but it was so vague. You're like,
steroided out.
another coffee shop in town. Like that was the vaguest. Like that was like a Twitter sub in real life. I love that.
Wow.
I mean, we're sponsored by Sesame, unlike those other coffee shops in town.
Yeah, it's lame.
Totally throwing shade to Dutch Bros, and I don't mean it. But yes, they have those, and they're delicious. I've switched over from my usual nitro coffee to the Red Bull infused.
Oh yeah, I got.
Both are amazing, so I totally relate and understand the need for caffeine.
Yeah,
It-
yeah.
It's kind of a running joke that musicians, it's gear and food, and really it's caffeine and gear.
Yeah.
Right.
It's caffeine. I
And
mean,
some bathroom breaks.
I remember I used to play drums for a band called Swell Spells. They're a garage punk band from California, and at one point we, the lead singer made a jug of like double concentration cold brew, and we were taking it with us on tour. And I remember that like we were like exhausted. We had to leave at like 5 in the morning, and I was like, "Hey, dude, can you pass the jug?" And he'd pass the jug, and you'd like take one sip. It's like, "Oh my god, okay, I'm awake now." But then the lid didn't work properly on it, so it ended up like soaking into the back seat of the Toyota Chandra, and it just like smelled like coffee, and we couldn't have any of it. It was horrible.
You were like sucking on the seats, like.
You're
Come on, get it out.
Just feeling tortured.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
that's horrible.
Turn
Yeah,
into
no.
a Doc from Back to the Future. Just whoa.
Yeah, that went dark.
1.21 gigawatts. Anyway. Shout out.
Yeah, I know. Let's shift gears back to the music.
Yeah.
What song are you playing next?
Next, we're gonna play a song called "Moving Day." This is otherwise known as the dancey tune. This song's about moving. It's also about transition and change, just overall. But it's kind of exploring the theme of the nature of home, how it all relates to us, how homes are changeable, and how it feels to change from one to the other.
What sort of headspace were you in when you wrote the song?
Well, I had just gotten back from hanging out with a friend of mine who was a romantic interest like a long time ago. But I was hanging out with her before I was taking off from my hometown. And I remember we were just like out at this bar, and I remember just like feeling this very sentimental sort of feeling. When I went back to my house, it was like my parents' house, in my room, like this is the room where I had made like all my records for years. So I knew this room in front and back. I had gotten bed bugs at one point, which we'll be playing a song later called Bed Bugs, which I actually wrote about that experience and tied it in about, it's a song more about anxiety than anything else, but we'll be playing that song later too. But I had gotten bed bugs, and we had to tear out all the carpet in my room. So it's like this room that I had made all my music in had just been like destroyed in front of me. And it was like a very, like, but I knew that it's like, this is because I have to leave. Like, this is because I have to get out of here and I have to make something out of myself. So it was in a very contemplative kind of sentimental state when I made this song. I recorded the album version, which you'll hear later this year. I recorded the album version on a 4-track with an old drum machine, and I ran my vocals through the same octave pedal I'm using to create like a fake bass guitar. So it sounds very alien and bizarre, but that's just kind of how I felt. Like, even in my own space, I felt alien. So that's the kind of space I was in.
Let's hear Moving Day.
Cool. Where we come from when we both go out. It's where we belong. It's who we belong to. It's who we choose to be. It's where we do as we please. Oh, baby, home. It's everything. It's what keeps me alive. The thought of my bed after a long night. It's calm and refreshing, stirring and still. It's clean or it's messy. It's where I get my fill of baby home. Is everything to me. So now that it's changing, I feel some kind of way. Like the ground beneath of me is moving, but my soul decides to stay. It's moving day. It's moving day. It's moving day. It's moving day. Here we go now. Just one more time, man. All right. This next song is gonna be called. I'm going to name it now. This song's called Misery. It's about being sad. If you couldn't tell already. Misery loves to talk. Go for a midday walk through the old city
out in the sun. It's never because you asked, always because you're asked. Never gets over anything or anyone. Keep it all tucked inside. Find a good place to hide. Sit your ass down inside. Never come out. Misery loves to speak. Go for an evening leap off of the balcony and into the street. 'Cause you don't care who you hurt. 'Cause rest assured you've got it worse. All of those people are dirt and they get what they deserve. Keep it all tucked inside. Find a good place to hide. Sit yourself down inside. Never come out. Don't bother coming near. There's nothing good in here. All that I got is fear wrapped up in my an old friend who you can't ask to go. Tucked inside. Find a good place to hide. Sit yourself down inside. Never come out. Never come out.
We have time for one last song, but before we hear it, once again, you can find Shaylee's music on Instagram.
Yeah, our first record's on Spotify. Any music we release will be on streaming services throughout. We're most active on Instagram at SHAYLEE Band, also on Facebook, but mostly Instagram. We stay up with the times best we can on the gram.
And your next show, Quarter World.
Quarter World tomorrow, June 1st. We'll be headlining there tomorrow. After that, June 15th at Slim's, and then June 29th at No Fun with Easy There Tiger. Should be fun.
Very fun. All right, let's hear that last song.
Thanks. This is SHAYLEE, and you're listening to KPSU. This last song is called Bed Bugs.
coming. Anytime I feel like I'm a jerk, I know it's coming. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got them. Any time of day when I'm alone, I know it's coming. Even when I pick up the phone, I know it's coming. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got them. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got the bed bugs in my skin. I got them.